welcome to my little corner on the internet where I talk about what I have been making. My name is Nicola and I'm maker behind Mrs S Craft Corner. I'm coming to you from Nottingham, which is in the UK. I live here with my husband and our two boys, Oliver, who is 10, and Joseph, who is 8, and our dog Finn. So welcome to episode 7. I can't believe I've made it this far. Thank you so much for joining me again. I hope that you all had a fantastic Easter. We did. Oliver was feeling like himself, so we were able to see lots of people. We had people over for my husband's birthday, went to see brother-in-law, and they've got this pizza oven, so we had homemade pizzas, which were amazing. Went to see my mum and dad on Easter Sunday, and they cooked us a lamb roast. And lamb's my favourite, so needless to say, that was beautiful. Yeah, it's really nice. So we'll get into it. I will start with what I am wearing. This is a flax that I modified again. So it is cropped and just sort of past the elbow length. I modified the arm because on the flax there is a garter ridge, but I used a pattern from a pair of socks I made from the 52 Weeks of Socks book. I think it's Crossroads, so it's like cabling but crisscrossing. I only did those on the sleeves, and it is knit with DK weight yarn, which I got from Truly Yarns off of Etsy, and I want to say that this is the Autumn Spice colour, but I'm not 100% certain now because I did order this a while ago and this was made over a year ago. I'm wearing it today because I think I'm going to frog it and use the yarn for something else because it is cropped. It does tend to ride up a bit, and my stomach area is somewhere that I am self-conscious of. So I think because of the cropped nature, I don't wear it as much as I should. And I love the colour of this yarn. I think it's beautiful. So I am going to make it into something else. And I'd started to unravel it. It's a tubular bind off, so that's going to take a while to undo. But I wanted to show you guys first. And I wanted it with negative ease, but I didn't think about the fact that the sleeves with them being cabling as well would make it even worse. So, I don't know, there's like, it looks like it's laddering underneath, like there's no drop stitches, but it's pulling under the arms. And yeah, so I'm just not 100% comfortable when I wear it. But I think what I'm going to do, did look through Ravelry and I found a pattern by, I want to say, the Woolly Badger, and it's the Summer Down top, and I'll try and insert a picture somewhere. You start off by doing a lace panel for the top of both the sleeves, and then you pick up stitches along the back of the lace and cast on for the back of the neck and knit the back panel and sleeve, and then the same again for the front. You'll pick up the front on both. I think it's knit for a bit and then join for the neckline, knit until you would then join in the round to the down, and then you'd seam up the sleeves. I've not bought the pattern yet because I'm not in a position to start knitting it yet, so there's no point, but I think that's what I'm going to make with it because I had bought 3 skeins of this yarn and it's DK, so I think that's 225 meters per 100 grams, which gives me 675, and I think for the third size I only need 590 because it is knit on a 5.5mm needle, so it's a much bigger gauge, so it'll be much looser and drapey and airy, and hopefully I'll get a lot more wear out of that one than I have out of this because it's stunning yarn and I want to make the most out of it, and obviously with it being hand dyed, it is a bit pricier than just normal yarn, so I don't want it just sat in my drawer not being worn. But yeah, so that's this one, and I'm getting quite hot, so I'll pause you a second I'll just quickly change. I'm back again. Right, yes, so this is it taken off. Like I say, it's beautiful, and I did try the helical knitting at some point through it. I don't think there's any obvious, there's some spiraling, but yeah, that's the nature of hand-dyed yarn. And I have got, that's all I had left from using it, so I have got almost a full 3 skeins in this. Now this alone should make the whole of that other jumper by the Woolly Badger, so yes, but I have a never-ending list of things that I want to cast on, so we'll see when I get that done. But I just wanted to mention it before I frog it and wash all the yarn to get the kinks out, because otherwise it looks like super noodles, doesn't it? But yeah, so that is that one. Have got a finished object for you today. So these are the scrappy socks I made with the leftover yarn from Cheshire Yarns that I'd made for one of the ladies-in-laws. So as I said, yeah, so I folded down and sewn the cuff, cast on 64 stitches on 2.25mm needles on 9-inch circulars. They are higher sharps. They tend to be my favourite ones because you just knit round and round and you're not having to faff with magic loop. Or I've not knit socks on DPNs for ages, but I have got DPNs to do it. Yeah, so I knit a 2x2 twisted rip, so that's for the knit stitches you knit through the back loop to create the, I don't know if I'll pick it like the twisted stitch. And I knit that for 20 rounds and before going into the colours. And they're the Cheshire Yarns. I think that is 60% superwash merino, 20% alpaca, 20% nylon, and it's a mini skein set that they sell on Etsy. 8 rounds per colour, so I only did 1 colour before doing the slip stitch, heel flap and gusset. Well, the slip stitch, heel flap, heel turn, then back into the colours for the gusset decreases. 8 rows per round apart from the end one because I'd miscalculated how many rounds I needed for my foot, so that is 5 rounds. And then the wedge toe that I think comes as standard in all of the Crazy Sock Lady tutorials. That is just my go-to toe now. Yes, a lovely pair of shorty socks. And I only finished those a couple of days ago, so yesterday or the night before. I think it was the night before, because I've taken these in, Oliver's in at the minute, so I've taken these with me to finish off in hospital. So these are them on. Yes, this is a really nice little shorty sock. I'm very excited to wear those, even though it's completely miserable now. It's been trying to rain this morning. It's really dull and grey out there. And there was me thinking that the sun that we had on Good Friday last week would be the start of spring coming back and there being some nice weather. But hey ho, here we are. So that is those done. And I had taken, because I was in hospital, I've not got it here to show because I still haven't done anything on it, but I'd taken the baby blanket for the new nephew that's due in the summer, and I completely forgot that I needed a new ball of yarn to carry on, and so I just took the blanket as it was without the extra ball of yarn, so I didn't have that to do. So yeah, I didn't get much done when it was my turn, but I'm back in again this afternoon, which is probably when I'll edit this and get this up. But yeah, so I'll remember the extra ball of wool this time, and there will actually be something to show on it last time. If not, it's being finished. That would be good. So my next finished object is a cast on and cast off since like 2 days ago, and it's the half and half triangle washcloth by Pearl Soho. I can't check because I'm filming on my phone today. Yeah, so very So I think it's the same construction as the half and half triangles wrap that I'm going to use for my advent calendar. It's a free pattern on the website. I will link the Ravelry page to, which then links to their page for the pattern. I modified it a bit. I didn't have the right size needles to hand and I couldn't be bothered to go rooting around, so I did it on 1/4 millimetre bigger. So I think it's supposed to be 3.25, but I only had a 3.5 to hand. So that's what I've made it with, and it's just leftover cotton that I've got from when I was making a lot of amigurumi toys and dolls and stuff to give people for gifts, because I decided that was a good idea one year, and that was a lot of pressure I put on myself, and so I've not really done it since. So I've got lots of little odds and ends that I'm using to make some little dishcloths with a cute little I-cord edge. Yeah, so because I've used a slightly bigger needle, I cast on less stitches. I think on the pattern it tells you to do 72, and I had started it, but it was massive. I don't know who needs a washcloth much bigger than this. But yeah, so I ended up casting on 52 stitches. And I did end up having to look for a YouTube tutorial, because for the first triangle instructions, absolutely fine, no issues. But when it came to, so if you've not made one before, you cast on all the stitches all the way along the bottom, and then as you're knitting backwards and forwards, you're doing wrap and turns. So can you see the diagonal line? So you wrap and turn back, wrap and turn, so you work into this point. And then I wasn't sure how you were then supposed to start working on the second triangle, and it's not very clearly explained in the pattern, but it's a free pattern, so there's not much you can really complain about. But there is a lady who has done a video tutorial on the bigger wrap shawl, so I will try and link that below. But yeah, so then you end up knitting along the wraps and turns to this end, you knit back and forwards a few times, and then you start from this end doing short rows, so knit, wrap and turn back, go over the wrap and turn all the way back up till you're increasing to this, the cast on edge, how many stitches you cast on, and then cast off all the way along this edge until the last 3 stitches, and then you do like a little I-cord tag and sew it in so it can be hung up. I just think it's nice and cute, and it's a fun way just to use up all of the leftover cotton that otherwise would just go in the bin. And it's just, you either can wash your face with it or use it as a dishcloth. So I don't think, because they're just for me, they don't have to be anything special and the matching or anything like that, so I'm not too fussed. But yeah, it's a really quick, so I'd cast this on in bed, not last 2 nights ago, and I didn't take this into hospital because the night before, so 1 night ago, oh yeah, so it was my turn in hospital, so I hadn't taken this with me, and I finished it off this morning. Last night and this morning I finished that off, and then I have, this leads me into works in progress, I cast on another one, and this is how far I've got so far this morning. And I was planning on doing it the same size, but I'd obviously not left myself enough tail, so it means I only cast on 42 stitches. But again, is that wide to my face? It's not. This will probably be more likely used for a dishcloth rather than a face cloth one, because it is a bit smaller. But I had started to make a little magic knot ball with the tiny scraps of the cotton yarn, and as I'm going I'm using the liquid stitch. I've not brought that up with me for the knots as I'm going, because like it's for a cloth, it doesn't really matter that it's a bit knobbly. Yeah, this is gonna be a nice little scrappy triangle on the side, and this is my bag of cotton scraps that I have. But yeah, nice little mindless thing just to keep my hands busy when I need to keep them busy, but I'm not in the mind space for following a pattern. So that is those. And I think these are all, oh, there's one with a label, look. Yeah, they're 100% cotton and they're DK. Most of them are this Rico Rumi. It's probably reflecting quite badly. Yeah, little 25 grams are they? 20 grams? 25 grams. Yeah, so most of them are those, but like this one was a different brand. I think that one was actually 4-ply, so that's why that bit's a bit drapier and stretchy compared to this one, which is one of the DK weighted ones. But yeah, so I've got quite a few in there, so that should make some nice little washcloths for me. Yeah, and I think that Addy lace silver tip 3.5 needles. I don't know how long the cable is. Long since thrown away that packet. And it's just in an organza wool warehouse bag. So that is, oh, sorry. That's the first whip. Next one, I'll just show you ever so briefly. I've spoken about it an awful lot. It's my stone crop by Andrea Mowry. But I ended up knitting on that after showing it on the podcast. And this is, so where the little rainbow stitch marker is. So up here, just before this colourwork section, all the way down here is what I've managed to get done. And then, so that means I have split up the sleeves, which is what most of it is. So that's how far underneath the sleeve I've done, and it's just some of the like try it on to be stuff that I've got my sleeves on. So I have tried it on for fit. I don't know if I said last time, but so it tells you to knit so many inches from the edge of the neckline before you split for the sleeves, and I'm sure I measured it and it was about 1 inch under, so I carried on knitting past the repeat, which I thought would be another inch, then remeasured it, and somehow it was then 1 inch longer than it was supposed to be before I split for the sleeves. But I just left it and then split for the sleeves at that point rather than carrying on any further. Yeah, so just happily plodding along on that, and I had to order some, I think they're the 12-inch ones, 12-inch needles just for the sleeves, just because with it being colour work, I think I'd probably knit it too tight over if I was doing it magic loop, the gap that you get in between. Like if it was plain, I wouldn't mind doing it magic loop, but because it's colour work, I don't want it being too tight on my arms, especially like this bit, which is what the problem with that other top was. But yeah, so that's coming along nicely. Like I say, that's one of the ones that does take a lot of, but not so much a lot anymore now that I'm getting into the flow of what the colourwork charts are, because it's the same like 3 sort of designs over and over again. But yeah, just because obviously colourwork and bubbles and stuff is a bit more thinking and headspace. And that is being knit with the Filcolana Arvetta, the very dark blue, which is number 195. And that's 80% merino, superwash merino wool and 20% nylon. I get that from knit.co.uk. And then the contrast colour, which is this beautiful sea glass from Somerset Yarns, and that's superwash BFL. Yeah, really looking forward to that being done. I'm not in a rush to finish it because I'm a bit of both. I knit because I want the thing, like I desperately want the thing, but I also really enjoy the process of knitting. Like I'm never normally one that's like, oh, I'll avoid that because it's got loads of purling, or I just enjoy it. It's something to keep my hands busy. But yes, that's all still only just in my Vintage Sweet Shop project bag. And that's that one. And then, oh, it's just more of an honourable mention for my Musselburgh. I've not really knit on this since last time, like literally a centimetre Musselburgh with the drops alpaca. Yeah, that's more like in the dark TV knitting, and I've not really done much watching anything in the dark recently. Yeah, so that's that one. It's very, very brief. And then we have my scrappy triangle shawl. Again, it's coming along nicely. I mean, obviously now as the rows are getting bigger, it's taking longer to do, but so the donut mark, so it's this colour just here, like the yellowy one. So I've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows onto this. So see, it's not actually that much different when I put it on from last time, but I think this is more going to be a wearable blanket thing, so I'll probably like just to whack it on when my shoulders are cold more than as a shawl to go out walking. But yeah, that's coming along nicely. I've got a feeling this probably won't do the rest of the shawl, and I'll have to go home and get some more scraps to finish it off. But I'm loving the way that they're turning out. How like it goes from being quite colour blocky to then it's all different at the bottom. But yeah, I like that a lot, and that's being crocheted on a 3.5 flea bob and Lala crochet hook for dragonflies. Again, that's in an organza more warehouse bag for the times when I forget to tick the thing but no, I don't need any more organza bags. So I've got loads of these everywhere. We use these as like little wash bags for the dirty clothes and stuff from hospital, just so that they don't muck up the clean stuff that you're bringing back, is the main use for most of them. That's that one. So the magic knot ball, I followed the K from Crazy Sock Lady's tutorial on how to do it, and again I'm using the liquid stitch, just honestly the tiniest amount, just to seal the ends together, which is fine for a scrappy project like that, but I feel like it is quite hard, and I wouldn't use it on something like, so that's a shawl, it doesn't really bother me, but I wouldn't use that method for anything that's going to be next to skin, because that would be quite rough and irritating. Yeah, so the magic knot ball is all yarns that were dyed for the Harry Potter mini skein club that Nora George Yarns were running. So you'd get 5 colours each month, and I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so I had to, I think it was Ollie on the Ollie and Bella podcast, she'd mentioned it, and so I had to order myself some. I mean, I was a bit late. I think she'd already done almost a year of the club when I found it, but she'd stopped dyeing for a while. But I think she might be starting to dye again soon. She's somebody that I've bought an advent calendar from in the past, and that's really nice. I've got loads of scraps left over from that one, so if I run out of this, it'll probably be those that I then add in, because all the colours will be similar dye style, and it's really nice. I should bring that round one time so I can show you. I've made an advent wrap that's like knit on the bias, and each colour was a different like lace patterning. Yeah, that's really nice. So the next thing is a brand new cast on, and I spoke about it because I'd bought the yarn from knit.co.uk in their Sadness Gone sale. The tin line, I want to say it is. I've not got the ball round with me, I'm really naughty. I've left that all downstairs. But yeah, so I cast on the Cumulus top by Petite Knit. I think it's Petite Knit. Now so you start with knitting 4 triangles, and with the cast on tails I've just tied them together so you can get a look for what it's going to be like. So I've done the 4, And I've cast on under this armholes and I'm knitting just on the body at the minute. Yeah, it's a really simple pattern. I mean, I will say about the pattern, there's nothing wrong with it per se, but I'm used to when knitting on patterns, you're given like row 1, do this, row 2, do that. Like it's marked out for each line of what you're doing. But I feel like part of this was like a story paragraph. So just like, so first you will do this and then you do this and then you need to do this. And it's just like a big paragraph. And I feel like you've got to like inference which bit it is that you're needing. You've got to figure it out and read the whole paragraph to get to the bit that you need, rather than being like, okay, I'm repeating row 3 and 4. It's written in the paragraph rather than set out instructions. But it's fine, it's a basic tank top, and so you knit to the bottom. I can't remember how long you knit it for. It's a paid for pattern anyway. And I've forgotten what the bottom looks like. Post a picture and then you'll all know. And then it's an I-cord, I believe, around all the edges, and then an I-cord strap, which is why I've just tied this for now, because obviously the I-cord's going to be added at the end, just so you can see what it's going to look like. Yeah, it'll be a really nice summer piece, because this is cotton, viscose and linen, so it shouldn't be worn, so it should be nice and drapey and light airy fabric. And it is being, I am using 3mm needles, so they are quite small, but with it being a tank top it shouldn't take too long. But yeah, it was all gusto, because I cast this on over the Easter weekend because it was nice and sunny. I was really looking forward to having a nice little summer tank top to wear. And then it's been grey and miserable ever since, so I've not wanted to pick it up because it's not something that I would be wearing at the minute anyway. But yeah, that'll get done for summer. It's got a little teapot stitch marker that I got in a set of Beauty and the Beast stitch markers. Yeah, so that is that one. Oh yeah, I have a bell stitch marker on. Can't believe I didn't even show it on my dishcloth. So you mark where you get to your wraps and turns. And it is bell in a dress. That was part of the same set that I got. I think it was that one, the teapot, there was like a candlestick one, obviously for Lumiere, the rose, and a castle. Set of 5 I got from Etsy. If I can find the link, I'll link that below. But yeah, obviously Beauty and the Beast, so I had to have that. I will, I've not brought that with me, but these will go into the tea cake and make project pack that I've got, that my socks were in, but I've not done that yet, so I've not been very organised. And then the final thing, it's not a lot. This is what I mean. I started to do this last night. My mum has asked me to make her some doilies for her living room. She's got these like side table things that she's got massive lamps on, and she wants some doilies to put underneath the lamps because she's having it all, the living room, wallpapered. And so, but that's as far I've got. And I don't even know which side is the right side or the wrong side. There's a pattern she has picked, so I'm using that one. Yes, I kept the ball band. So she bought 2 of these because I think one does each doily. So it's crochet thread, 50 grams, so it's got a really nice sheen. I think she ordered, it was in a Wool Warehouse bag, so I'm assuming she ordered it from Wool Warehouse. Doesn't have a colour name, although I'm sure there will be on Wool Warehouse, but that's the colour number. Just says wash in warm water. But yeah, 3-ply cotton, crochet cotton. Oh, size 12. show on there. Yeah, so it changes colour as you go. But yeah, so for the pattern of this, it's not 100% clear, although I was feeling quite tired, so I think that was more to do with it, because I'd had the night previous was my night with Oliver, so I was up quite a few times through the night. Not for anything bad, because he's on fluids, they have to take note of what his intake and outtake of fluids are, so you have to collect all of his urine. And because he's on fluids throughout the night, he's having to get up and have wheeze a lot throughout the night. That's all it is, not anything serious. But yeah, so a bit tired to concentrate on teeny tiny 2mm. This I ordered from Woolstack. It's the Clover one. Like I say, I do find their needles and hooks and stuff are cheaper than elsewhere, and if you spend over £25, postage is free. So, you know, yeah, I'll stock up. But I ordered this and the needles at the same time that I needed for my stone crop. I don't know, that was by Andrew and Mary. I don't know if I said. I'll link all of the name and stuff for the pattern because I've not got that with me. Again, that's all on my phone. I've not printed it off. And I didn't think to have a look and write it down before I started filming. So unfortunately, I don't have that information right now. But that's everything for what I've been making since I saw you on Good Friday. Today is Friday the 14th, so it's a week later. I have been trying to fight the cast on itis bug because I have got such a lot that needs to be finished, but I'm itching to have new things to do, hence the dishcloths and the cumulus top being cast on. But now I've finished these socks, I probably will get another pair of socks cast on because I always like to have socks on the go. But I might go for just a plain vanilla sock for the next one, with having to change these every 8 rounds and having to do all that sewing in again. I think I'll either do that, or I think it's the birdseed sock. I'll put a picture if I find it. And that uses, I've had that pattern in my Ravelry library for years and never gotten around to making them. But I think, because I've got some Forks colourway that I ordered from Biff Sugar Yarns, that I have got socks already made, but I've got probably about 40 grams left. And so I might use that with the Filcolana Arvetta neutral colour. Make some of those, which is not vanilla at all, because it's, yeah, not that I've read the pattern, but it looks like you're changing colour each round, so, or every other round. But there'll be no cutting or anything, you'll just be drop a yarn, pick up one. Yeah, that's it, other than the crochet hook and the needles that are in the other room I've not got with me. Yeah, I've not had any acquisitions. I did order Laura from the Lonely Knitter, the one that I got the Beauty and the Beast mini scheme set from. This month's colour scheme is Iron Man, which is Rob's favourite, so I have ordered that, but that's obviously not come yet, and when that comes I will show you. But yeah, so I've ordered those so that he can have some stripy socks to match mine. And I ordered my advent calendar from the Camels Yarn, which is based in Cornwall. That's who I've decided to go with for this year. So that'll be, as I've said before, the half and half triangles wrap. So I'll knit one triangle with her advent calendar, and I believe she said it's like a fade this year, from moorland to sea, based on things around in and around Cornwall. So I'll have that on one side and then a neutral on the other. But actually, seeing on the video of the lady doing the tutorial, she's knit the biggest size, which is what I was planning on doing, and it is huge. Like, honestly, it's like a blanket that you wear around your neck. So I might have to rethink a minute the smaller one. I'll see. I'll go through people's project pages and seeing which one looks more wearable. But yeah, I'll still do that pattern. I might just have leftovers to put into something else if I knit the smaller size. But yeah, So that is all the yarny goodness. So as I've mentioned, Oliver is in at the minute. He's on his cycle 10, which is the first one of the second block of chemos. Yeah, and he should be out Sunday morning. As I said, today's Friday, so I'm going in this afternoon because Notts County are at home tomorrow, and there's only a few games left, and husband being a season ticket holder, he's not managed to make many games, so he's going to, so even though it's his turn tomorrow night, he's going to the game, which is a late kick-off. That's why I'm going later today, so that he can go to the game and he'll come and swap over with me. Not that you need to know all of this stuff, but yeah, so we're all doing well. Kids will be back to school on Monday. I just feel like time's passing really quickly at the minute. We seem to be whizzing through this year. Before we know it, the kids will be finished school, which will be Oliver's last year at primary school. I'm going to be an emotional wreck, which I am anyway. Yeah. So let me know what you've been making. Is there any other patterns actually that you think that I could make with this? I do quite like the summer down top by the Woolly Badger. It looks really nice and it meets the meterage for this. Like, I could even, it's quite a lot of positive ease that it recommends actually. It's 8 to 10 inches. I don't know if that's, because it looks like it's a batwing thing, so I don't know if you need that because of the batwing, that's why it's positive ease. But I feel like 8 to 10 inches is quite a lot, so I could get away with knitting the smaller size, which I think is 540 meters that you need, and then I can knit it longer. It's just the cropness. I wanted it to wear over dresses, but I don't have dresses to wear. So yeah, so either that one, or do you have any recommendations for a 3 skein DK weight yarn pattern that I could use to make this? I think as well it needs to be relatively plain because it has got so many speckles, which is beautiful. I think the sleeve, it can get a bit lost, like the yarn doesn't shine through as well. But yeah, so let me know what you think. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a lovely week next week. Yeah, and hopefully this weather sorts itself out and we get some sunshine back. That would be really nice. Thank you so much for watching and take care. Goodbye.